Sports on Tap Detroit, brought to you by the Realtors of the Joe Wright Group, Jason Stiltner of Flagstar Bank, Aldman Entertainment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, with loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping with news that's jaw dropping. They're getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening, if you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go when all coming attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
This guy here is dead.
Cross him off then.
Welcome to episode 156 of Sports on Tap Detroit. Alongside Joe Waddell, I am Chris Scott. Joe, how are you?
I'm all right, man.
Yeah.
Life is just busy, bro. That's all.
Yeah.
I was, as you know, everybody else doesn't realize that because we went live at the right time. But
Yep.
I was definitely cutting it close getting here.
A little bit.
Rushing to get the show started.
Yeah.
And then while I got the countdown started, rushing to the bathroom to fit that in. But yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Doing good. Since our last show, the Tigers have made the playoffs, and they have a win.
They have a win in the
playoffs. Good game by the boys today. Scooble does what Scooble does. He was dominant through 6.
Scoobled.
Scoobled for sure. The offense was able to scrape out enough runs to make that stand up. The bullpen made it interesting late, which again not surprising given that none of them have really ever been in this position at all. So
Ever.
So they made it interesting late, but they were ultimately able to pull out the win, and they have a chance tomorrow to close out the Astros. That'd be nice if they can do it. We'll see if they can.
Well, no matter what, they have 2 more shots at it. And
they do.
Winning game 1 was big. I believe since they went to this format in the 3-game wild card playoff,
Yeah.
every team that has won the first game has won the series.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe 7 out of 8 of the series have been sweeps.
And of course, though, the Tigers go up against a team that's been to the American League Championship Series the past 6-7 years, I believe.
I believe
Yeah,
so.
cool. And that's when I saw Houston in the 9th, and I'm just like, this is why they win championships, because you got a chance to knock them out, and they had it with the bases loaded. I think it was in either the 8th or the 9th. Granted, there was 2 outs, but it was you got to scratch a few more runs there, just to
At least one.
You got a chance to knock them out. You got to do it, and
Yep.
they were fortunate to get away with it, because obviously Houston didn't make it easy in their bottom of the 9th, but they got away with it, and they'll take away a win in game 1, and hopefully they can close it out in game 2. That would be fantastic.
Well, and in the other wild card game, Kansas City beat Baltimore in a 1-0 game, which, it's both the lower seeded teams
Right.
won.
And both on the road.
Yeah.
I look at Baltimore, and I look at that team. I'm just like, what a waste. Like, that team should be significantly better than they are. But whenever they get to the playoffs, like, this is the second year, I believe, since they've kind of had this young influx of talent, and they're bad in the playoffs. Like, they don't score any runs. Like, it's kind of amazing to me. They got decent pitching. Like, they had their ace go today, and he got until he got into the 9th. Didn't give up anything, or gave up 1 run. And it's like, really, you guys can't scratch across 1 for him?
Yeah.
Come on. But yeah, that's if the Orioles end up losing this series again, you're with all this influx of young talent, which is good, young talent. You're kind of starting off on the wrong foot with that, But this is the baseball playoffs, and anything can happen. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. So we'll see how that plays out. And as we're recording this, we're currently watching the Mets Brewers game, which so far has actually been a really good game. So we'll see how all this stuff plays out. But we always kind of debate on what are the best playoffs in sports, and I still maintain it's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I agree.
I will never change that opinion.
I agree.
But,
by the way, Frank says have a good show, gents.
Thanks, buddy.
He is doing better health-wise. He's back to work today.
Nice.
Frank, appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing better, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
it's good to hear.
I'm glad you're doing better. I wish you were here with us.
Yes.
But at least you're feeling better and back to work.
And you beat Eric apparently in fantasy this week, from what I hear.
No, he did not.
Oh, he did not beat Eric. Okay.
Eric was blowing him out.
Oh,
and then
Frank, okay.
Eric started talking shit in the text, apparently, which, again, I only know this from hearing them talking because I didn't look at them.
Right.
And last night's text, I didn't even go back through and look at them. So they said he was talking shit, that he was winning, and he was. But then all of a sudden during the two games last night, Frank ended up taking the lead at one point.
Oh, did he?
Like, made a hell of a comeback.
Oh, shit.
And then Eric basically won because of that last interception by Detroit. is how Eric won that game. So,
all right, man.
Yeah, it was funny hearing them talk about it today. Eric was talking about before Frank got there, and then they were talking about when he got in.
All right. Well.
And of course, me not paying attention to any of that or the chats, I was oblivious to all of it until we talked about it today. So
I saw it this morning, and I thought I must have read it wrong because I thought it was the other way around.
Oh.
Okay. It's fantasy football. You know how I feel about fantasy football. It doesn't really do much for me, but I get it. Whomever you're playing, if you got a chance to talk shit to them and beat them, yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's a fun time.
It is a fun time. But yeah, going back to the playoffs, like I said, I'll always maintain that the Stanley Cup playoffs are the best, but the baseball playoffs will always hold a strong spot in my heart because it's intense. It really is because it kind of literally is like every pitch matters, and I dig that. I think that's fantastic. Now, people say, well, the NFL playoffs are better, and that's fine. I see where you can come from on that. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I think baseball playoffs are better than the NFL playoffs is, like I said, I think because every pitch does seem to matter, like everything, and I think with the NFL, I almost want to say there's too many other things that contribute to how a game turns out, especially like officiating. And that's why I can't put it ahead of the MLB playoffs. So, but obviously everybody's
the
MLB playoffs. That one was actually used properly.
It was.
But yeah, obviously everybody's entitled to their thoughts on it, but that's what makes sports great is because you can have that debate, and you're not wrong because it's an opinion. There's no fact here,
Unless it's my opinion.
Unless it's your opinion, and Joe agrees. So
yeah.
Anyways, with that being said, let's hop into the NFL for Week 4. Oh yeah, and like we kind of thought was going to happen before we get into anything that happened this past week, that Davante Adams wants to be traded, which I think we all kind of saw coming.
Yeah, it's I'll be honest with you, I'm a little shocked.
Really?
No.
I was like, why?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Not shocked one bit.
No. I think you can kind of see this coming, and obviously you see on social media that every fan base is like, go get him. It's like, yeah, okay, go get him. From what I read, it's going to cost you a second-round pick and some other stuff, but I'm just trying to think of a team.
I mean, there are some teams that
your team could use him.
My team could definitely use him, but my team needs a quarterback to throw the football to the other two receivers who are already on the team. So,
like my team could use him. That would be nice. I would not be against that.
Yeah, I mean,
but you just had a guy like that. Davante Adams is better than Stephon Diggs.
And Davante Adams isn't quite the diva that Stephon Diggs was.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
And by all accounts, I'm not dogging Stephon Diggs because he's been better in Houston from what I understand. But He was a diva and wanted the ball constantly on Buffalo.
Yeah.
They're doing fine without him, other than this last game, which was whew. We'll get into that.
And I think if he goes to a team that can win,
Yeah,
I think he'll be fine. You know.
yeah, and I mean, there's some teams that could definitely use
Oh,
him
for sure.
with all the injuries that they have. The Rams could use him.
Yes. Yeah.
And let's see. I mean, there's quite a few teams that could use him. The Broncos could use him. Although,
But
again,
say he goes to the Broncos. You think that's going to end well?
no, and I don't. And he plays for Raiders, so there's no way they're trading him to the
that-
Broncos.
that-
But I'm just looking through teams that could use
Like
him.
if the Raiders somehow trade him to the Chiefs, I quit. I quit. Like why do these teams keep helping out the Chiefs? Stop.
Yeah, no.
That's,
I mean, honestly, the Cardinals could use him. It would open up things for Marvin Harrison Jr.
yes.
and Kyler Murray more, and you got Trey McBride there. That would be a hell of a 1-2-3 punch in the receiving core there. The Washington Commanders,
Now that's an intriguing one.
they're 3-1,
Yeah.
and they could use another guy on the other side of Terry McLaurin.
That's a very intriguing option right there.
They're doing better than they thought.
Yeah.
I think they have their salary cap is low.
Yeah.
They could use him. They could make a trade for him and make a run this season and help their young quarterback out more than they already are.
I actually like that option. I think that's a very intriguing option. See if that would happen, especially with a young young quarterback that seems like he's got it. You know?
Yeah. Well, shit. You look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys could use him. They don't have anybody opposite CeeDee Lamb.
The Cowboys could use him.
They have
what's
nobody.
What's their cap look like? Do you know?
I'd have to look. I could look it up right now. Look at.
Or would CeeDee Lamb get pissed off and be like, "No, I don't want that guy,"
I don't think he would.
especially after they just paid him.
I mean, they just paid him. He's getting paid. What does it matter?
But he's not going to be.
If it helps open up things for him, what would it matter, right? I mean,
I don't know. But we talk about diva receivers, you know,
yeah.
and he wouldn't necessarily be the guy there anymore if they brought in Adams. But you're right. I think it would help him tremendously. But they could, because we look at the Cowboys and their offense is very, very pedestrian. If you shut down CeeDee Lamb, you're good. So, but anyways, we'll get into Week 4. What happened here? Thursday night we had the Cowboys and Giants, which these Thursday night games are rarely good, and this was no exception. Cowboys win 20-15, but if you even watch 5 minutes of that game, you see the Cowboys, they're just not good. They're not very good.
No.
The Giants are not very good. So, like that 20-15 score is pretty indicative of how that game and how those teams are. Like the way I look at it.
Looking at cap space.
Yep.
Amazingly, I don't know how this is. The Niners have the most cap space available.
Until next year.
And then Cleveland has the second most. Detroit has the third most.
Yep.
New England, the Raiders, and then comes Washington and Dallas, two teams that I just talked about.
Okay.
And then
But that's
and then
before,
one
all
below
that.
them is Arizona.
Right. So you could do it for this year, but a lot of those situations are before all these extensions and shit kick in.
Right.
So,
But you're talking about this year.
This year, yeah.
If
You
you're
can pull
talking
it
about this
off,
year,
for
it's
sure.
this year.
No.
And if I go to 2025, Washington's in second
Okay.
for 2025 cap space right now. Detroit's in third.
Right.
Arizona fourth. Dallas drops down the list
Yeah.
to 23rd.
Yeah, because I mean, you just paid your
You just paid your quarterback and your wide receiver.
Yeah.
And then in 26, Washington is number one. Washington is one of the most intriguing ones that I can
really
think
is.
of, honestly, with cap space and a young quarterback to build with.
But like
I think it would be a smart move for them to at least pursue it.
But like I say with the NFL salary cap, it's not real. It isn't, because you can do so much maneuvering within that cap to kick money down the road and whatnot. It's not real.
There's a lot of magic maneuvering
There
that
really
can happen.
is. So it's like anyone. Like honestly, if any one of these teams really wanted to go get them, they could. They could find a way to make it work.
Jeremy says, first of all, Jeremy, how you doing, buddy?
What's up?
He says, Joe, your team should have kept Flacco. Yes, I said that last year. I said it at the end of last year.
Hey, do you think your team should have kept Baker Mayfield?
I've said that too. I said that too because that guy just keeps balling out.
He does. But yeah, going back to the Cowboys-Giants game, I think we've kind of covered that enough. The game was nothing special. And if you watched it, you can even see Al Michaels he loses interest in games so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of love it because then he gets irritated with all the flags. It's so fun.
Oh well, that crew was
Dude,
definitely
so bad.
flag happy.
So
I
bad.
mean, it was. There was not. I felt like there was not a single snap in that game.
It was absurd. how
That
many
there
flags
wasn't
they were
a
throwing.
flag thrown.
It was ridiculous.
Whether it was upheld or not, or
Yeah.
or not. But I feel like every single play had one
It was
flag.
every
thrown.
flag. Every play flag.
It was unbelievable.
Like, do these guys get bonuses for throwing
Yeah,
flags?
it was. And this crew is notorious. They're known
Yeah.
for being the most flag happy crew there is.
It's like, okay. Anyways.
It was irritating.
Uh,
And I'm not 80-year-old Al Michaels,
no.
but it was
It
irritating.
was it was irritating me. I commented on the twitter.com. So
on the X.
I'm never calling it that. Call me like old man yells at clock. I'm never calling it X ever.
X gonna give it to
So moving on, I'll go to the Sunday night game. I just want to get this out of the way before we move on to any other game.
Mm-hmm.
Bills get dump trucked in Baltimore. I'm not gonna go crazy about it because there's no reason to go crazy about it. I kind of saw it coming. I really put this game at the feet of the coaching staff. Their game plan was atrocious from kickoff. It was atrocious. Like the first drive, why are you not going for it? You got a quarterback that can get you 2 yards on fourth down. Like why are you punting the ball? That didn't make sense to me. And then that just horrendous trick play. Like why? You had momentum. Why? You didn't need to do that. You really didn't need to do that.
No.
And then defensively, I'm not sure what you guys were doing. The way I look at it, if I go into that game defensively, is say, okay, you got one of two options. Either you can stop or try to stop Derrick Henry,
Try.
or you can try to stop Lamar Jackson.
Did they try to stop either one of them?
That's my point. Pick one, and honestly, stop Derrick Henry. Make Lamar Jackson beat you.
Right. Well, that's what I would choose.
Yeah.
But I feel like they didn't choose either one.
No, they didn't. And again, this is another reason why I put this loss not squarely on the coaching staff, but a lot of the blame goes to the coaching staff in this one. Is they put their team in a horrendous position. They did not put them in a position to succeed. They just didn't. Like after that, even the first play when that Derrick Henry broke off that run, I'm like, oh, this is probably not going to end well. And then they started to pick up a little bit. They started to get some momentum back, and then they just killed it with that stupid trick play. And credit to Joe Brady, he owned it. He goes, "That was dumb. We can't be doing that anymore." And it just whatever. I'm gonna chalk it up as a bad game. Whatever. Move on. You're still 3-1. You're still in first place in the division. Move on to Houston. Take care of business down there, and we're fine. But games like that is why I can't fully get behind Sean McDermott. I can't, because there's too many times that he coaches scared, and he coaches way too conservatively, and that's why I don't think they'll ever win a Super Bowl with him. It's because he does that way too often. Is he a good coach? Yeah, I think he's a good coach. But do I think he's the guy to get you to the top? No, I don't. But we'll find out. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, with when and if they do get to the playoffs and they get bounced in the divisional or wild card round or whatever. And then hopefully they'll come to their senses, and maybe that Belichick guy doesn't have a job by then. And can you imagine that?
That'd be funny.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Do it. Why not? Because that's the thing. You're already going into a ready-made situation. You have a stud quarterback, and you can get that. You can scheme that defense up, to get that team and that organization to where you want to go. So we'll see if it happens. I don't think it will. I think he's going to take a job with one of these teams before the season ends. So here's the hoping,
Oh boy.
Next up, looking at the Falcons Saints game, I really didn't watch much of this game, so I really don't know a lot that happened in it, unfortunately.
Well, the one thing that stood out to me is Taysom Hill vultured 2 touchdowns
Hey, I picked that guy for a TD vulture.
from Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
And then got hurt. And systematically, this is exactly what happens with Taysom Hill. He's listed as questionable for 3/4 of the season.
Yeah.
Because he gets hurt.
Yeah.
He will come in and he'll basically get 2 touchdowns in a game and have a blow-up game, and then it'll be 4 weeks before you hear anything
Right.
from him again. It'll be like 3 rushes for 5 yards next week, and then in about 4 weeks he'll vulture another couple touchdowns and have a huge game.
Yeah.
This one, to me, there wasn't much to this one other than looking at kickers this year. They're insane, man.
They are insane.
Some of the guys that are kicking right now in the NFL are unbelievable.
Now it's funny you mentioned kickers because I heard this on a show the other day where in fantasy, if you finish last, that you have to do some sort of stupid thing like you have to wear a dress at the draft and all that shit or whatever rules, whatever rules they come up with.
Whatever punishment they
Right.
give you for that.
And
some leagues don't have any, but a lot of leagues
right.
have a punishment.
One league, one guy said his league, if you finish dead last, you have to draft the kicker within the first 3 rounds. Which I love. I think that's a great punishment.
That's hilarious.
But looking at it, though,
I mean, that fucks over your. Basically, you're going to lose that season too. Then
maybe
that kind of sucks.
But in looking at it, with how these kickers are actually kicking now, they're actually getting you a shitload of points.
It's still not worth drafting that high, but
right.
I mean, some of them are. But I mean, look, Fairbairn was great the first 2 weeks. Second 2 weeks, not so great because the team hasn't moved the ball so well. I mean, they're great kickers. It's a matter of are they put in a position
right, to get you points.
To get you points. And I just am impressed with how these kickers kick such long field goals with ease.
It's, like zero effort.
It's almost I mean, it almost looks effortless.
Yeah.
That they're kicking and Young Wei Koo, Young Ho Koo.
That's right. Sounds like a pimp.
kicked a 58-yard game winner.
Yeah.
And looked like he was going to get groceries.
Yeah. He had distance to spare.
It was insane, man. I'm just really impressed with the kickers and two good kickers in this game was Groupie and Koo. And Koo's one of the best there is out there right now. He's one of those that are in the top tier. He kicked a 53-yarder, a 44-yarder, a 42-yarder, and a 58-yarder. And that 58-yard game winner was it didn't look like there was any pressure on him. He was cool as the other side of the pillow. I mean, just went out there and kicked it through and walked off. Basically was like, yeah, there you go.
Now, I know we're giving kickers their props right now, but don't let that fool you. I still hate kickers.
I still hate kickers too, but I am impressed. They're impressing me this year with what they're doing.
Right. Now, going back to the fantasy, punishment, if you really want to make it a punishment, make them draft a defense.
Oh yeah, that's a punishment for sure.
Man,
make them draft a defense in the first 3 rounds. God. Well, this year the top 3 or 4 defenses are sucking right now.
Right, exactly.
So if you're like, well, fine, fuck it, it's top 3 rounds. I got to pick a defense in round 3. Oh. I'll just go for the best rated defense there is. Well, this year you'd have been fucked.
So you better hope the rest of your draft is on point.
You better be very
you're probably
good
picking
at
a defense the following year.
Yeah,
too.
You better be very good at drafting in the late rounds, man.
Moving on to the Bears and Rams. The Bears, they win again. I think again in spite of Caleb Williams. He doesn't do anything to help them win. It's their defense.
I mean, it's not like he really did anything to make them lose either.
No, he didn't.
I mean, it was, but again, 17 of 23, 157 yards. He completed 17 passes for 157 yards. It's not great.
No,
one TD.
That's check down city.
Yeah, 1 TD. But yeah, I mean, it's just he didn't look as bad in this game as he has in a couple so far. But that team won. The Rams team is decimated with injuries.
Yeah, they're very. Depleted.
And the Bears' defense is actually picking up the slack for them a little bit. So
But once again, Stafford threw that killer pick, which is what he does. But yeah, other than that, I still look at the Bears and I still see a team that is going to finish under 500. I think they do have a solid defense, but that I'm not on the Caleb Williams train, and I'm not going to be. So it's simple as that.
Yeah.
However, another game in that division, though, the Vikings-Packers game, that was actually a really good game. That was fun to watch.
That was a good game,
Yes.
and Jordan Love came back. Still looked like he was hobbled from that injury, but
He looked a little rusty.
as that game went on,
Yeah.
he got better.
He did.
I mean, he was rough at first.
Yep.
And again, I think the injury was still bothering him.
Yep.
Even at the end of the game, it was. But as the game went on, he got better. And that was a good game, man. That was
It
a
was.
fun game to watch. There was a lot of scoring in that game. Sam Darnold actually looks good.
He does.
He looks like a good NFL quarterback.
This doesn't look
man.
like smoke and mirrors. This looks like
It
this
looks
dude's
like
actually
reality.
good.
It looks like reality.
It really does.
I mean, we're 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
And it's not like when he was on Carolina where he was doing a lot of it with his legs and
Yeah.
running the ball in. I think through 4 weeks, the year he was with Carolina, he led the entire league in rushing touchdowns. Not just quarterbacks, like the entire
really?
league. Yeah.
Wow.
Through like 4 weeks or 5, whatever it was. So it's not like that. The dude is actually throwing the football well. He's throwing the football into tight windows. And I know, yes, it's Justin Jefferson, but it's also Jalen Naylor and Jordan Addison and Munt. And I mean, there's other guys that he's throwing the football to that he's throwing it very well.
He is.
looks impressive.
No, agreed. And like we talked about this last week, that do we think the Vikings were for real? Yeah. They're
Oh,
for
they
real.
are.
They're absolutely for real.
That defense is for real.
Yep.
And as long as Sam Darnold can stay this Sam Darnold,
Yep.
no, they're definitely competitive.
Yeah.
I think the Lions have a different team they need to worry about in that division. We thought it was going to be Green Bay. Some people
And they
thought it was
still
going to be
still have to
Chicago.
worry about Green Bay.
And Green Bay is still going to be
They're going to be good.
somebody to worry about.
Yes.
But Minnesota,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody planned on Minnesota being good this year.
I
Than the people in Minnesota.
Yeah, I sure as hell know I didn't.
Same.
Like we thought JJ McCarthy was going to start for him.
Right.
You know, and can you imagine if that happened?
Right. Would JJ have looked this good?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but I don't know, man. The scheme looks good. The coaching is good. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
All I can say is I'm impressed with Sam Darnold.
I'm going to say no simply because of lack of
Rookie.
experience. That's
Rookie.
That's it. Yeah.
But I mean, all I'm going to say right now is Sam Darnold looks really good.
He does.
And that coaching staff looks like they have that team prepared.
Yep.
Week in and week out.
Absolutely. Next, looking at the Colts and Steelers game. I watched a little bit of this. It was a solid game. You have to stick with Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to.
Absolutely. Listen, and everyone's going to be like, well, he had a big fumble. Okay.
Okay.
He's the only reason they were in that game.
Agreed. 100%.
The only reason. And listen, it's like last week with Deshaun in Cleveland. Was Deshaun I hate Deshaun Watson at this point. I think he's bad. Last week, was he really the only reason that team was in that game? Yeah, he really was. I still think he sucks, but in that game, he was the only reason why they were in that game. This week, you can't look at this game and tell me that Justin Fields was not the only reason they were in that game.
I'm not going to disagree with
Right,
you.
exactly. Nobody
He
can.
was.
Nobody
Again,
can.
watching that game, yeah, he was the only reason why you were in that game. Now, was that kind of a bad loss to a mediocre Colts team? Yeah. And then you got to look at Richardson.
Well,
I told you guys from the jump, man.
listen, you also got to look at Flacco. Is Joe Flacco actually elite? Because when he comes in,
Right.
when he comes
Well,
in,
he does, yes.
and plays. Listen, he's the backup, but he came in as a backup to Cleveland, led him to
He
playoffs.
did.
He came in as a backup in Indy,
Yeah.
and he looked fucking good.
He did. But like I said at the beginning of the season, I told you guys, stay away from Richardson. Stay away from him. He's not that guy. He isn't.
So here's the funny thing. I stayed away from him in every league. I actually went with Kyler Murray in every single league except for one. So 3 out of my 4 I went with Kyler Murray. The one, Kyler went 1 pick right before I was going to take a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I rolled the dice on Anthony Richardson. I was like, all right. But I was able to back him up with Justin Fields. And this week, guess who I played instead of Anthony Richardson?
Justin Fields.
I played Justin Fields.
Attaboy.
And I recommended Justin Fields to a friend at work who had a question mark. He's like, Jordan Love's coming back. I got Aaron Rodgers is out there. This is out there. And I'm like, I would go with Justin Fields, bro. I'm telling you. He's like, really? Justin Fields? I go, he's going to have a good game. Go with Justin Fields.
Yeah, but is he going to have 389 to 4 TDs like Jordan Love had?
But he had 2 rushing TDs, 300 yards passing, and 55 yards rushing.
Fair.
His point total, I believe, was still better than Jordan Love.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He rushed in 2 touchdowns.
Oh, that's fair.
You know what I mean? So, like, not that Jordan Love didn't look good, but again, coming back from an injury, I wouldn't recommend playing a guy coming back from an injury.
I get where you're coming from.
And at first, like the first quarter of that game, he looked really bad.
Yeah.
He looked rusty, looked like he was hindered, but he ended up putting up good stats at the end.
Right.
Justin Fields, man, I don't see how they end up putting Russ Wilson in there after this.
If they end up putting Russ in, that team will implode.
Yeah, I don't see how it can happen.
No, I agree
I
with
just
you.
don't.
I think that team will revolt if they end up putting Russ in. They'll be like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I think so. We talked about this.
Yeah.
And we talked about how they went out and got both quarterbacks, and we said the second quarterback they got is actually going to be their franchise quarterback, and is actually going to win that job and do the best for them.
Yep.
And it was Justin Fields.
Yep.
I think it just happened sooner than we thought it would. It happened before the season even started.
I still think if Russ didn't get hurt, he would have started that season.
Right. But now,
Yep.
basically the inevitable was just rushed by him having that
Which
injury in preseason
may have been the best thing to happen to that
for
team.
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Because
hard.
now I don't see how you can turn around and put Russ in it. So I don't see how you do it. Unless Justin Fields goes out there and shits the bed
I think
2
even-
weeks in a row.
I think even if he shits the bed, you still can't.
I think it would have to be an extended shitting
Right,
the bed.
exactly.
Like, it wouldn't just be one game of shitting the bed. It would be a couple games of shitting
Yeah.
the bed. Then maybe they turn to Russ just to see if he lights a spark or something. But no, I think at this point it's Justin Fields' job, and it's his to lose.
No, I think that's really all there is to it, because like we were just saying, you can't look at every guy in that locker room and say, well, Russ is starting just because he came back from injury. No.
Yeah, no.
Like the players know that Fields gives them the best chance to win week in and week out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he has a shitty week, it happens. Quarterbacks have shitty weeks. It's a thing.
Yep.
So,
It is a thing, and the people that don't understand that bother me too. Listen, when it's an extended period of time, you can have a problem with it, like I do with Deshaun Watson, because
Right.
he has sucked most of his career in Cleveland. He has sucked. But when you get on quarterbacks that have a bad game here and there, and it's like, oh, that was awful, he sucks. No, I mean, it does happen. Don't you have a bad day at your job?
every day.
Well, I mean, don't you wait? Like, there's some days where I feel like everything I do just turns to shit. Like, it goes wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody has those days.
Yes.
Just these guys play football, and it's a national fucking sport
Yep.
that is broadcast on television, and you get replays of it constantly. So it's just their bad day at work is just magnified.
It's for all to see.
Right.
Yep.
Your bad day at work is just your bad day at work, and you wake up the next day and you go about your next day at work. These guys have a bad day at work, and it gets blown all out of proportion. It's like, it fucking happens, guys.
Yes, it certainly does. But you know who doesn't have bad days at work?
Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank.
That's right. If you're a homeowner or looking to be a first-time home buyer, give Jason Stiltner, Senior Loan Officer at Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631. Jason has great mortgage programs for first-time home buyers, including down payment assistance options and excellent interest rates. Again, give my guy, Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631 and get the excellent service you deserve. Flagstar Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546. Yes.
Well, the world needs ditch diggers, too.
All right, Jeremy
That wasn't the one I meant to play.
yes.
Happy Chinooka.
That was-
So Jeremy has a question. He says, random football Hall of Fame question.
Okay.
Does the NFL put DeMar Hamlin in the Hall of Fame once eligible because he died? Because he doesn't really impress. No, they're not going to put him in because he died.
no. No. He will not be in the Hall of Fame because he died.
No.
I think they might have already done some sort of, like, salute to him at somewhere.
Maybe name like an award after him or something. Like
I
literally,
think
like comeback player of the year.
They had, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they've done something for him, but no. I think with the NFL, your play on the field has to
Yes.
define your
Absolutely.
Hall of Fame stature.
100% it does. Now watch, you'll see that Major League Baseball is going to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think they will.
I do. I think they will. I absolutely think they will.
Really?
Yep. Which is
Somebody said something yesterday that I really didn't. It sat wrong with me.
okay.
So
Do tell.
and I don't
Tell me
I
more.
don't remember who it was.
Like, did he have a car?
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Was it Love at First Sight?
It was not. No. So they said, well, now that Pete Rose died,
Yep.
his lifetime ban is over because his life is over, and now they can put him in the Hall of Fame. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you could word that better, bro. Like, the guy just died.
Yeah.
Second of all, he should have been in there before
Yes.
he died.
Yes.
But also, a lifetime ban doesn't mean like when your life is over, the ban is over. It means
I think it should.
it's a lifetime ban. Like, it's a forever ban. I understand.
I think it should mean that.
I understand the wording, kind of, but it's not. It's a lifetime ban is for the lifetime of Major League Baseball. You're
Right.
banned.
Yep.
Now, could it possibly happen? Could they? I wish they would have done it sooner. I was all for them doing it. If they do it, I would be happy with it because I think he deserved it. I just think he deserved it before he died.
Yes, and this is why I think they will now put him in, is because he is no longer with us. And to me, that's soft. That's incredibly soft.
Yeah, I think it's bullshit.
Like, you can put him in and have like a separate thing next to his bust and be like, or his
He gambled on baseball.
he is banned from Major League Baseball because of gambling.
Yep.
But as a player, yes, he absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame.
You can do the same thing for the guys who took steroids.
Agreed. You
Which
absolutely
you
can.
should
Yes.
do that, but they're not going to because Major League Baseball is full.
I don't.
The Major League Baseball writers and voters on this are a bunch of fucking stiffs.
They really are. Because I don't understand how you can punish these guys who may or may not have taken steroids. Some guys didn't test positive. We don't know. Like, but, and not to mention, did the commissioner do anything about this? No. He knew. Are you kidding me?
Major League
It
Baseball.
wasn't, and technically it wasn't banned in Major League Baseball anyway.
Major League Baseball, all they did was soak up the ratings
Yep.
from Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds. It's all they did is soak it up. They used them, abused them, and tossed them away. And now all of a sudden they're cast-offs. Major League Baseball is the one that benefited from it.
Yes.
I
And then-
I just don't understand.
And then when you add in the absurdity of these writers and their Hall of Fame votes, no, obviously there's no way these guys are getting in,
No.
which is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, because they're a bunch of stiffs.
They are a bunch of stiffs, but that's the discussion for another day. Moving back into NFL talk, and I kind of hate to come to this game, but the Broncos and Jets with a real burn burner.
That's a real burn burner.
Jesus.
Guys, this game was crazy, Kenny. It's a crazy
this game
burn burner.
This game was not crazy at all. This was absolutely kind of an atrocious football game to watch.
It was ugly.
It really was. Somehow, the Broncos went into MetLife Stadium and beat the Jets. Which,
Well, here's the funny thing. If I tell you these two quarterback stats,
yes,
which team would you tell me won? So, Bo Nix, 12 of 25 for 60 yards.
he had -7 yards at halftime.
Yep. 12 of 25 for 60 yards. Or Aaron Rodgers, 24 of 42 for 225 yards. Which team do you think won?
I mean, clearly you'd think it would be the Jets.
Yeah, and it
I
wasn't.
actually should say the goddamn Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
Yes.
But it was not.
No.
And the reason? Denver's defense is fucking good.
Yeah. It is.
Denver's defense is really good. And I don't think any of us were going to give like a thought that would happen before the season started. But their defense is really, really good. I can't even say that enough. They're really good.
No, I don't disagree. They are really well coached. They play really well. But that's a game. But you look at the Jets. There's something not right there. And I don't know if it's with Hackett. I don't know if it's with Rodgers. I don't know if it's with Saleh. I don't know if it's a combination of all three. I think that might be the thing here.
Yeah.
Is the combination of all three. They're just not on the same page. You can tell Rodgers and Saleh aren't on the same page at all.
No, it looks bad.
It really does.
Well, and what did Saleh say? And I was a big backer of Saleh. I still am. I think he's a good coach, but within reason now, I'm kind of reeling that in a notch because he said something along the lines of, "We got to change Aaron Rodgers' cadence because that's the reason for the false start penalties." Aaron Rodgers in his snap cadence,
Been doing this for years.
he's been doing it since he got into the
Right.
league.
Yeah.
And never had this issue. Your problem is your team is not well coached, and your offensive line is not coached well enough to not jump
Yeah.
on his cadence. What are you talking about?
Like-
you have a quarterback who argue all you want to about whatever he is. He's one of the best at drawing teams off sides on his snap cadence.
Yes, he is.
If you're going to take that away from him, you're taking away a huge part of his game.
Oh, absolutely, you are. Like if you're gonna say some nonsense like that, that should be a direct shot at your offensive line coach.
Yes.
Like that's on you, guy. Like, what are we doing here? This guy's been doing that same kind of cadence for what, almost 20 years now?
Yeah.
And really, you're gonna tell him that he needs to change it?
Oh, it's the problem is Aaron Rodgers'
Yeah.
cadence.
Okay. Yeah, that's
That's not the problem.
that might be
Say what you want about Aaron Rodgers, but that's not the problem.
that might
there.
be one step in the coaching grave right there. He starts saying some stupid shit like
very
that.
possibly, yes. Yeah, it could be.
But anyways, we move on to the Bucks and Eagles. Oh God, I love seeing the Eagles just go down in flames, baby. I was fully expecting Sirianni to be fired on Monday morning. I really was.
I mean, at this rate, it might be coming. They're 2-2.
but
They
like,
did not look good, and I know they have injuries.
They did not look good.
Well, AJ Brown's out. Devontae Smith is out. Basically they're 1 and 2 who are
Right.
Devontae Smith could possibly be a 1 somewhere else.
Right.
Okay, those guys are out, and they've got Jahan Dotson and I don't know who the fuck knows. Paris Campbell
Yeah.
was their leading receiver.
I
So again, it's an issue, but they just looked bad. I
they
mean,
did look bad. And to me, this
well,
comes
that defense looked bad too, bro.
it did. And they brought in a guy who was supposed to be like the defensive savior. I'm sorry, is it Vic Fangio's their defensive coordinator?
I think so. Yeah.
When's the last time that guy had like a really good defense?
Never.
There you go. But you look at, to me, the biggest problem with this team, and I think it's maybe this is putting it too simply, but it's that dynamic between Sirianni and Hurts. Those dudes hate each other. Like flat out, I think those dudes hate each other. And
It's that conflict there is about the same as like Saleh and Aaron Rodgers right now. I feel like if you're a head coach, and
I
you
think it's
can't-
worse.
well, it could be worse, but I put them on the same plane a little bit because if you can't get along with if you're a head coach, you can't get along with your multi-million-dollar franchise quarterback, which I don't care how old Aaron Rodgers is, he's your franchise quarterback. You're paying him a bunch of money. At this point in time, if I was the owner of these teams, if I was the GM of these teams, these coaches would not have jobs. If you can't coach the multi-million-dollar high-paid quarterback that we have on our team, the franchise quarterback, and you can't get on the same page with them, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you. I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, I think they have a different philosophy on how they want to run the offense. And I personally think that Hurts doesn't believe in him as an offensive coach. I don't.
Oh, and it's hard to say Hurts is wrong.
But you
But
also
that defense is not giving them anything to work with
Agreed.
either, and it's so bad. I mean, you look at it, and not like Baker hasn't played well, but 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. He ran one in the second quarter,
Right.
which was a 1-yard run. So he drove them down the field basically three straight times in a row to score, and then they got a field goal on I believe the very next drive.
Yeah.
So they were up 24-0
Yep.
before Philadelphia could even blink.
But you also look at the Eagles, and you look at when the year they went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and everybody says, "Oh, it was the coordinators. It was the coordinators. It was the coordinators." And you're kind of letting these past two, like last season, and then through the first 4 weeks of this season, you're kind of letting credence to that maybe it was the coordinators, and this guy has no idea what the hell he's doing. You know, it's like, So I could see if you're a starting quarterback and you kind of look at it that way, and you're like, I don't know if this is the guy I want to, play for, and that's a problem. And of course, when you break it down in that terminology, the multi-million-dollar quarterback's going to win every time. So
Yeah.
I personally, obviously it'll be telling here in the next coming weeks. But if they don't turn it around quickly, my pick before the season started is he'll be the first coach to be fired. But
I think there's a couple that are on a hot seat right now, and
sure.
his seat is definitely pretty fucking hot.
Oh yeah, big time. Like Doug Peterson's hot,
Extremely
but
hot.
We'll get to the Jags.
Extremely hot.
We'll get to the Jags here shortly. Next up, we got the Bengals taking on the Panthers. Bengals come away with a huge win. They needed win. But I look at this and I'm like, did they really even look all that good?
No.
I don't think they did against a bad Panthers team.
Yeah, they did not look good. Listen, Jamar Chase only had 3 catches.
Yeah.
He did have 85 yards and a touchdown, but 3 catches?
Yeah.
For your franchise wide receiver, you're paying him how many millions of dollars a year? 3 catches?
Do you think this is kind of turning into a Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs type thing?
I don't know, man. Something's wrong with that offense.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with that team. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I can't put my finger on
Neither
it.
can
but
I. I think
Something
we
is wrong
I think
with
we
that
talked
team.
a little bit about this last week. That there's something there that we just can't figure out what it is.
I don't know, man, because it's not like they do. It's not like they have a bad offense. I
And
mean,
it seems
they
like
they can move the football. I mean,
Right.
Joe Burrow had a rating of 100.5,
Yeah.
232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Chase Brown actually got going and ran the ball pretty well, and they got a 1-2 punch with him and Zach Moss.
it seems like
I don't know,
I don't know.
man.
It seems like ever since Joe Burrow decided he wanted to look like a lesbian, they've been terrible.
Yeah,
Like I don't know.
yeah.
Like he wanted to look like Ellen DeGeneres or Megan Rapinoe or whatever. He's like,
I thought he looked like Slim Shady, but
or
yeah.
that's it. Fine. Yeah,
I thought he looked like an old school Eminem, but anyway, no matter what it was,
it hasn't been good.
No,
It has not been good. So the Bengals get a win again, much needed. We'll see. We'll see in the coming weeks. Again, it's another team we see in the coming weeks. Be like, are they going to be able to turn around or not? Who knows? We kind of mentioned the Jaguars quickly. They took on the Texans. They fall to 0-4. The Texans take it 24-20. C.J. Stroud got back on track, 345 and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins is a freaking monster.
that dude's awesome.
He is a monster.
Well, first of all, I want to say he's leading the league in like every statistical category for wide receivers right now. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
And he's worked on his game since he left Michigan.
When he was at Michigan, nobody saw that coming.
No. Now, he was a good receiver
good,
that
but
was
not
never used properly.
this.
Right, and he was never used
Yes.
properly, right? Like,
Agreed.
he was a good receiver.
Yep.
But he's bulked up.
Yep.
He's worked on his hands. I mean, the dude looks like a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL now. And by statistical speaking, he is the best in the league right now.
Yeah, he's definitely proving it every week. You put up 12, 151 and a touch. Yeah.
He's proving that contract they gave him was not a fluke. Was not a bad not a fluke per se, but it was not.
It was
wrong.
deserved.
It was deserved.
earned.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
It was earned. I mean,
Yes,
he's
absolutely.
earning that contract
Yes,
right
he
now
is.
for
Absolutely
sure.
is. So good on him. Like I said, Stroud coming back, getting back on track after a rough week. Hey, up in Minnesota, good for them. They got the Bills coming in this week. We'll see how that goes. If it's anything like this past week, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Good on the Texans. They take out the Jaguars. The Jaguars, whew, that's a bad football team. Like flat out, that's a bad football team.
They're not good. This game, the score doesn't really speak to how outmatched the Jags were actually, because it was 24-20.
Yeah.
One of those scores was late by the Jags, and then Houston got a late score to take the lead.
Yep.
In this game, Houston outpaced the Jags by quite a bit. I mean, if you're looking at total yards, they outpaced them by like 120 yards overall. But the score doesn't reflect that.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Time of possession, Houston outpaced them by like 8 minutes of possession. The score didn't show that. So there's still some problems in Houston. They still need to work on converting some of those drives and not just utilizing time and not scoring. But the Jags have a big problem. And part of it,
Yes,
one of
they
the
do.
biggest problems they have is coaching.
Yes.
And you know how I feel about their head coach.
I do. You love him.
Despise,
Yes.
I believe, is the proper way to put it. Loathe.
Well, you know who I don't despise?
The Joe Wright Group.
That's right. Whether you're buying or selling your home, now is the time to take advantage of having the expertise of 3 real estate agents for the price of 1 on your side. Make the right move with the right group, the Joe Wright Group. Give Craig Joe Wright, Mike Bush, and Shane Wilson a call today at 248-535-4750 to fulfill all of your real estate needs. There you go. Moving on, Redskins Cardinals. Jaden Daniels, balling.
Well, first of all, that game definitely did not go the way I thought it was going to go.
No.
I like Washington, and I thought they could score points. I thought it was going to be a shootout.
Yes.
And one of the biggest things I take out of this game, there's 2 things. You said one of them, Jane Daniels. Looks like the guy we thought he was going to be coming out of college. You and I both said he was the best quarterback being drafted this year.
We did.
I think he's proving that so far through this season.
Yes.
You know, I'm hesitant to jump in there and say he's definitely going to win Rookie
As
of
of
the Year.
now?
As of now, he's Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yes.
Yeah.
But the other thing I see is Arizona's offense has
It almost looks stagnant.
it has a restrictor plate on it.
Yeah.
It's almost like so if you watch NASCAR, it's almost like it's a NASCAR.
Does anybody watch NASCAR?
I think people still watch NASCAR.
Do they? Is that? I didn't
Some
know
people do.
NASCAR still. You
You
never hear
used
anything.
to.
I never hear anything about it.
I see it advertised sometimes. Yeah, a little bit.
I used to.
I mean,
so
I
they
see
got,
I see
like-
a lot about it because I work for a company who it
Oh,
literally is a
that's-
NASCAR
yeah,
sponsor.
That's
so,
different. Okay.
but like,
But yeah, I don't hear anything about it anymore.
yeah, not a lot. If you were to look at this as car racing, right? I feel like it looks like they have a great first series, great first drive. They look fantastic, and then all of a sudden, the offense puts that restrictor plate on,
No.
and they just kind of sputter along the rest of the game and don't do much. If you're going to script your first series and look that good, can you just script the whole game that way? Because like you're really, I don't know what the fuck's happening.
We talk about coaches that do this shit all the time whenever they get up, like get a lead or whatever, and they sit back.
Well, Stefanski's one of the ones that does the whole get out to or look good on the first drive,
Right.
and then all of a sudden the offense looks like shit.
Yeah, it's just like why
But Arizona this year has done that in almost every
I
game.
don't understand it. Like why don't you just keep doing what you were doing?
I don't
It's
understand
never
it.
made sense to me why coaches do this. Why they
Yeah.
get so conservative. It baffles me. It
That
really
offense
does.
can look so good at times, but then
You're right.
you look at it on the next drive and you're like, what the
What was
fuck
that?
was that?
Exactly. So, anyways, Commanders or Redskins go in there, just whoop the Cardinals 42-14. Like we said, Jaden Daniels looked good.
Yeah.
Now it's another thing with the Redskins.
Brian Robinson looks good too, bro.
Right.
I mean,
with the Redskins, are they for real?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they are. I mean, I for me it's hard to through 4 games, through a quarter of the season about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Close to a quarter of the season. They're 3-1 and they're playing good football. I have a hard time saying they're not for real.
No, again.
They're first in the NFC East.
Again, going this early in the season, you're right. It's hard to say that they're not for real.
With the stipulation that, yeah, it's only a quarter of the season. It's only 4 games.
Correct.
But through 4 games, they look like a hell of a team.
Agreed. Moving on to the game. I don't want to spend too much time on this game because there's really no reason to. Patriots 49ers, I guess the story of this game, good team beats bad team. Next.
Yeah.
Like-
Moving on.
Like, there you go. Good team beats bad team. Moving on. And then, up comes this one. Raiders, 20. Browns, 16.
Yep. Well, if you didn't watch this game, I'll give you the summary. You're lucky you didn't watch it.
I did watch it.
I said if you didn't watch
Yeah,
it,
I
I'm
watched
going to
it.
give you the summary.
Yeah, I watched
But it was ugly football
Mm-hmm.
by both teams. Very ugly. And one of the biggest things this came down to was, ironically, I just talked up kickers earlier. Ironically, this came down to a missed extra point
God, I love
by
kickers.
Cleveland's kicker.
I love kickers. So
And
much.
that and Dustin Hopkins, it came down to that. He missed the extra point in the fourth quarter touchdown. That Zamir White fumbled, and by missing that, they were then down 4 points instead of 3. At the end of the game, they could have went for a field goal and tied up the game and went to overtime if they were only down by that field goal. But they weren't, because the kicker makes the extra point. So then they had to try to go for a touchdown. And we all know how that turned out, because they lost the game, and their offense just does not look good at times. Granted, I will say that they did have an 80-yard touchdown to Amari Cooper called back on what was one of the weakest holding calls I've ever seen in the NFL. But again, not going to be that guy. They had plenty of opportunities to win that game,
Yep.
and they just did not.
No, they didn't. You look at the stats. Deshaun went 24-32, 176 and a touch.
With a pick.
With a pick. Judy went 6 for 72. And then I feel like he came out after the game and says, I got tired, so I got to start working harder.
Who said that?
I think it was either Judy or I think it was Judy that said that. It's like, really, dude? Come on.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I think it was Judy. But oh yeah. Yeah, things are going great in Cleveland.
Things are going swimmingly.
Hell of an organization they're running over there.
It's
Good. They got uniforms and everything. It's
They
really
got
great.
uniforms and everything. It's insane.
Oh my god.
Speaking of uniforms, their uniforms for that game were fucking ugly as shit.
Trash.
All white.
Why?
It's the ugliest shit I've
Like
ever
the
seen.
Browns actually do have some like sweet looking unis.
They do. They really do. I do love their uniforms. It was one of the reasons why I jumped on
They're
board with
great.
them. Their unis they wore for this game
were awful.
god awful, bro. And I don't want to spend too much time talking
the
about
white
fucking
helmet?
wardrobes.
What are we doing here?
But it was bad.
Yes, I agree with you. Terrible decision to wear those. But
Terrible.
I
That was
mean,
terrible.
They're still not as bad as the ones that had like it said Browns down the side of the pants.
Yeah, those were
Those
were bad.
Those might be the worst they've ever had. Anyways,
These were a close second.
these
bro.
were a very close second. Moving on, Chiefs take out the Chargers 17-10. Chiefs do what the Chiefs do. They win. They find ways to win.
Yep.
The team has not looked.
One of the biggest things to come out of this game, though, is Rashee Rice probably out for the season.
Yeah, because his quarterback took him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was not pretty. And, that's obviously the Chiefs are going to be in need of a wide receiver. Obviously, Devontae Adams is available.
There is no fucking way.
I
the Raiders
highly
trade him.
doubt the Raiders trade him to the Chiefs.
Hell,
Anybody who's
not
saying
a
that,
chance that
I think
happens.
you're just praying because I don't believe that's going to happen.
No, there is no way that happens.
They could pursue other trades with other teams for wide receivers on a different level.
Yeah.
I do not believe the Raiders will trade Adams in division to KC. I just don't see that happening.
No, that would go against the entire code of the Raiders.
Yes.
If that happened. So, yeah, I don't see that. But, again, Chiefs find a way to win. They haven't looked particularly good or great this year at
They
all.
have not.
But
They
that's
have
what
not.
championship teams do. They win. They find ways to win. So,
Yep.
you know.
And anybody that's saying Xavier Worthy's going to step in, I'm sorry. First of all, he's a rookie. Second of all, he's not that type of receiver. He's sort of a gadget receiver. He's speedy. He's fast. And just because he's fast like Tyreek Hill doesn't mean he's going to be able to do what Tyreek Hill did. He's more of a gadget guy. He's an end-around guy. He's get him out in space, get him a wide receiver screen. He's not going to be able to consistently put up the numbers you need out of a number one wide receiver. They're going to have to figure something out. It's not going to be him.
Which, if any coach can do it, Andy Reid will figure something out.
I mean, he might just piecemeal it together every week. I really don't know, but
But I trust that guy to do that.
oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not Xavier Worthy's not going to be the quote unquote number one guy there.
No.
He's not the
They're
type
not
of
going to have
receiver.
a number one guy.
Not yet.
No.
He's not the type of receiver. I don't think he's ever going to be, but he's definitely not yet.
Now, if they scheme it like they did this past week and get Kelsey more involved like they did, I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
They need to try to get him more involved.
They did. They did this week.
A little bit, yeah. But it's been rough for him for the first.
It has
little
been,
bit.
but I think they made a concerted effort this week to get him more involved. And 7 catches for 89 yards. That's solid to get you going in the right direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try to scheme up more stuff to get him open, and
Well, they're going to have to.
they're going to exactly.
No.
They're going to kind of be forced into doing that. So we'll see how that plays out. Tough loss for the Chargers. Herbert, did he get hurt again?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't think he's been healthy all season, honestly.
I don't
think
either.
I think they keep trotting him out there, but I don't believe he's actually been healthy the entire season.
But at least this game wasn't lost because of some buffoonery
Right.
and head coaching.
Yeah.
It's just the better team beat you. Simple as that.
Well, the funny thing is, the Chargers were winning this game 10-0.
Right.
And lost at 17-10. So, I mean, they held KC in check for a while, but they just by one touchdown lost. I mean, they just couldn't hold them off.
Yeah. But they'll get there. I think. You can see the Chargers. They're on an upswing. I think they'll.
Yeah.
They're definitely a better team than they were under. The fuck was his name?
Staley.
Yeah, Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley.
Yeah. Yes, they're definitely a better team than they were under Brandon Staley. So hold your head up, Chargers fans. You guys will be fine.
It'll be all right.
Next up, Titans demolished the Dolphins. Oof.
Dude, they curb stomped them.
Woof. Man, the Dolphins are not good.
So here's my question. Why, Tua's passed.
Mm-hmm.
Why would Miami not have had a better backup quarterback behind him? I'm not saying bring in somebody that you're going to have a quarterback controversy with. Obviously, you're looking at this knowing that Tua is the fucking catalyst for this team. They look way better with him in there than they do without him in there.
Mm-hmm.
You could have at least brought in somebody along the lines of like a Ryan Tannehill.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
Or somebody along those lines. Even Joe Flacco, who looked good in Indy.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in somebody who is a better backup quarterback than Skylar Thompson, or Tyler Huntley. These guys
wouldn't even make
they're-
XFL rosters.
they're hot garbage.
Yes, they are hot garbage, 100%.
Like, it's unbelievable why you wouldn't do that. That's the only thing I take out of this game.
To me, that's organizational malpractice. it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because like you said, Tua's history of injuries. You got to have somebody that's competent to back him up, and these guys are clearly not that.
I'm not saying you have to plan for Tua to get hurt, but you have to plan with the thought that
He may.
he has a history of concussions
Yeah.
that doesn't bode well for when he gets hit in the head. And what happens in football? They get hit in the head.
A lot.
So you need to make sure that you have a backup quarterback. You have a good enough team.
Yeah.
It's not like you're a team that's not going to compete with Tua in there. You are. So get a guy that can back him up that is at least partially competitive, not the hot garbage you have behind him now.
No. And then, did you see this onside kick they tried to kick?
I don't think I did.
I saw it, and it seemed like everybody.
Wait, Miami did?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah. And it looked like everybody that was involved with it, be it the players, officials, coaches, broadcasters, had literally no idea what the hell was going on, because apparently you have to land it in a zone or something. I don't even know. I'm watching it going, what the hell just happened here?
Well,
I know the Titans couldn't touch it before it hit a certain spot, and I don't know. It was weird.
Well, I know for a fact on kickoffs now there is a zone you have to hit.
Right.
It's 20 to the goal line.
Yes.
And then beyond the goal line too. But if it lands before the 20, it's you get it at the 45-yard line.
Right, exactly. But this onside thing was fucking weird.
I didn't see that. I'll have to go back and try to watch that.
I didn't even understand it. I'm like, what just happened here? And, like nobody understood it. Like even
weird.
the rules official in the booth didn't understand. He's like, he had to like scramble for it. Like
He's like,
exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't see that.
This onside kick rule is fucking stupid.
Well, I think it's dumb. You have to tell the other team you're going to do it.
Yes, that in and of itself is fucking.
But
dumb.
they made it that way because they basically line on a regular kick. They line everybody up so far back, and basically standing next to each other chit chatting while the kickoff takes place.
Right.
So if you're going to do an onside kick, you obviously can't do an onside kick the way it's set up now to kick off.
Yep.
So you're going to have to tell the other team you're doing it.
Yep.
It's just weird the way they set it up. They got to come up with some other way to try to get the ball back to win a game. Like.
Yeah.
Something. So what you should do is you look back at the odds of teams to get an onside kick, and you come up with a play from a down and distance with the same odds of converting that play.
Okay.
Like, and then have them do that. So, all right, we need the ball back to try. Like, if we don't get the ball back right now, we have no shot to win the game. We need to get the ball back. We're gonna run a one down play. From like
at this point, you just flip a coin.
But that's 50-50 shot, whereas the onside kicks were never 50-50. Right. You have to have a play, like a one down play from like the 30-yard line, and you have to score a touchdown on it in order to even get the ball back. Whatever. Like you have to make the yard to gain.
Right.
It's got to be a down and distance, and then
I got it. Just do it on a kickoff. If you kick it through the uprights on the kickoff,
you get the ball back.
You get the ball back.
I don't know. These kickers these days will be getting you the ball back every time.
But hey, why not do it? If these kickers,
I don't know what the odds of that are, but it seems to me like they can do it at any point in time.
I see. That's what we would think they could do it at any time,
but maybe not.
That's a long way to kick a fucking football through uprights.
But so maybe that's the way to go.
I think we just came up with a new rule. We got to send this to Goodell.
Maybe that's the way to go.
Get on this. I love that. Like, since you're going to do away with onside kicks, basically. Yeah. All right, fine.
We used to always say they should give them points for kicking it through the uprights.
They should.
Kickoff. But if you're not going to do that, that should be your onside kick.
There's your onside kick.
Not actually an onside kick. There's your chance of getting the ball back. If you can kick it through the uprights, you get the ball back.
I think that should be a rule.
And if they decide it's too easy from where they originally kick it off, fine. You back it up 5 yards and make them kick it from there.
Love it.
And then if you kick it through, you get the ball back. Or make it be an off to the side kick instead of kicking it dead straight down the middle. You may if they want to try to kick it from that length, fine. You move it over to the hash mark and make them kick it through the uprights. You can find a way to make it difficult and to make it the equal difficulty of an onside kick was before. You could do that. I like that idea. I think you came up with a good one.
I think this is a terrific idea, and we got to move this up the food chain and get it to the people that can actually make this happen. Anyways. Moving on to the second Monday Nighter yesterday, Seahawks taking on the Lions. Lions win going away 42-29. Sort to say about this game. Jared Goff looked good. He was perfect, actually. 18 for 18?
He went 18 for 18, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think he had a perfect passer rating.
Yep.
Geno Smith looked decent again. He looked good. 395 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. But the story of this game on both sides of the ball, on the Detroit side, was Jared Goff was just mistake-free and played amazing. And on the other side of the ball was Kenneth Walker is a stud.
Yeah,
that dude's a one-man show.
He was a monster yesterday. He really was.
Did you see that play where Anzalone basically tried a WWE move to try to a wrestling move to try and get him down?
Yeah.
And it was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Kenneth Walker backflipped out of the tackle and continued it was the most. I can't even explain to you what happened. It was one of the most absurd, insanely crazy athletic moves I've ever seen a guy do to get out of a tackle.
Well, shit, it was like what Montgomery did yesterday, and just truck stick.
Oh yeah, he truck sticked the guy.
Jesus.
But Kenny Walker's backflip to get out of a tackle and then continue to. It was insane.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good for sure. But one thing I take away from the Seahawks perspective is, I think it's a pretty good football team.
They are pretty.
I think it's a pretty good football team. They were missing, 4 of their starters on defense last
Yep.
night? Not to use that as an excuse.
No,
because
no.
it's just a fact they were. But I think that they get those guys healthy again. That's a team that's going to challenge for that NFC West.
Yeah.
Because you look at Geno, and I know we give the Geno shit all the time, but
Yep.
he's a good quarterback.
He is.
He's a good quarterback. And
He's turned into a good quarterback.
he absolutely has turned into a good quarterback. So, that's
They're a 3-1 football team. They're
Yep.
first in the NFC West.
Yep.
They're a good football team. That's really what you can take out of that. I know Lions fans think that they trounced a team and the Seattle Seahawks are not competition. No, they actually are. The Lions should be happy. Lions fans should be happy. They won that game. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the Seahawks, they're a good football team too, man. I mean, they're gonna
be there.
they're gonna make a run.
Yep. Another thing I'll take out of this game: those black jerseys are fucking awful. I wanted to see them in a game, and I saw them, and those things are fucking trash. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm in the minority on this. I don't really care.
I mean, I didn't like them either, though.
Those jerseys are fucking horrendous.
But I can't really say much. I always get accused of just hating on the Lions, period.
Right,
So.
and I'm not saying it because I'm not a Lions fan. I'm saying it because they're fucking ugly jerseys.
I was gonna say, to me, it just did. I didn't like the way they looked.
No, neither did
But I just dogged my own team's unis right
Yes.
before this, though. So I will say
now,
that too.
if they maybe wore like blue pants with it, it might work better. But the all black,
I don't know.
I was not a fan. But again, I know I'm in the minority in this, and again, frankly, I don't fucking care. So, moving on, I do have a quick topic since we're 4 weeks in.
Yep.
I want to do some power rankings, NFC, AFC, your top 5 teams in each conference.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll start off with the AFC. Go.
Oy.
You do it from
All
5
right.
to 1.
This
1 to
this
5,
was
doesn't
a.
matter. I don't care.
You start off. You
Oh,
threw
me?
me threw me for a loop for this one. I didn't know this was coming up. So hold on.
Well, that's
Give
the
me-
beauty of doing a podcast. We don't do any prep for this show.
I know, but you could have gave me some sort of heads up.
No, man, that takes the fun out of it. Fine, we'll start in the AFC, and I have to put the Chiefs number 1. I have to. Until somebody beats them. I don't care how they've looked or whatever. They're number 1 in my power ranking.
Okay.
In the AFC. Who do you got? Or are you not there yet?
I'm not. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so like I said, I'll put the Chiefs number 1 in the AFC, again, simply because they haven't looked great, yet they're still 4-0. And that's what good teams do. So, after them, you know what? I know they had a really bad game. I'm probably going to put the Houston Texans number 2. And after that, Baltimore. After that, I know they had a really fucking shitty game, but I'm going to put Buffalo. And number 5, number 5's a tough one. Good Lord. the AFC is not very good right now. God damn. I'm looking at this. I'm like, who the hell would I put number 5? Shit. I guess I got to go Pittsburgh. Like, I have to.
So, all right, I think you're right with the Chiefs. You got to put the Chiefs at number 1. They're defending Super Bowl champions 2 years running. And I mean, they're just you can't put anything past them. I think for me it'd be the Bills next.
At number 2?
Yeah.
All right.
They had one dud of a game, and it was against Baltimore. I think they're the second best team in the AFC right now. I would put Pittsburgh at 3.
Okay.
I would put the Texans at 4.
All right.
And I have to put the Ravens at 5.
So basically, we have the same teams, just kind of in a different order.
Just jumbled up a little bit differently. That's all.
Okay. And now with the NFC, I got to put the Vikings number 1, man.
I don't disagree.
I had to put the Vikings number 1.
Oh, they're 4-0.
Yeah.
Their defense is good. Their offense is playing great. I don't see how you don't put them at number 1 in the NFC.
I got to put the Lions number 2.
Yep, I agree.
I'm still going to put the Niners in there at number 3.
I have so I have those 2, but I have the Bucks.
I have the Bucks
at
next
3.
at number 4.
I have the Bucks at 3.
Okay.
I have the Seahawks at 4.
I have the Seahawks at 5.
And I have the Niners at 5.
Okay.
So again, same teams,
but kind of
just maneuvered
it's
around
the
a little
same but different.
It's same, same but different.
Same but different. But yeah, I think if you look at a lot of power rankings, I think they'd be pretty similar to a lot of other people's.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Whatever. Again, it's 4 weeks into the season. A lot can happen.
Speaking of power rankings, my power rankings for DJs in the Metro Detroit area starts off with Bald Man Entertainment.
Wow.
We all know planning. We all know planning an event such as a wedding, birthday party, graduation party, or any other event that might require a DJ can be very hairy. Eliminate the stress and give Steve Waddell at Bald Man Entertainment a call today. 586-747-5402. He's the resident DJ for St. Hubert's Festival every year. If he's good enough for God, then he's good enough for you. Again, that's Bald Man Entertainment, 586-747-5402. The best decision you could make for a smooth event.
Nicely done.
Thank you, sir.
I wanted to hit a little bit on college football from this past week. Obviously, the Michigan game got bailed out by the refs. Did you watch any of it?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Like we were
I didn't
downtown.
see any football on
We were
Saturday.
downtown. We were going to go to the Tigers game, but with the rain and all that shit, we kind of said, "The hell with it." I know you guys were going to come down, but I don't blame you guys for not coming down.
We had chatted a couple times, and it was
Yeah,
just
I don't
like,
blame you.
we're gonna not.
So we left and we hit up a bar and we watched the Michigan game there and had some food, whatever. But just watching that game, God, unless everything goes right for that team, they're in a world of trouble. It's simple as that. And they got bailed out by the refs like that. How was that offside? Really? Come on. But yeah, Michigan is in a bunch of trouble. And by chance did you happen to see the ending of the Miami Virginia Tech game?
I did not. No.
Okay. Well,
I didn't see much college football this week at all.
okay.
Honestly.
Well, the ending of that game was a Hail Mary, and it was a disputed pass. You got to look at the play to actually kind of know what I'm talking about, to actually see the replay of it. But online, it was like back and forth. He caught it. He didn't catch it. He did. They call it a touchdown on the field, right? And by looking at it, if just in real time, I have zero idea how you call that a touchdown on the field. But they did. And so they replayed it for like 5 minutes. And they actually overturned it, which I was shocked that they overturned it. So it wasn't a game-winning touchdown by Virginia Tech. But in looking at the play, I'm like, how did you call this a touchdown to begin with? Like, nobody ever had possession of the ball. Nobody. Like, 3 different people had their hands on it. Like, so I don't know how you constitute that as possession. Secondly, not only could you really not tell who had possession of it, if anybody, but did he survive the ground? No. The ball was literally laying on somebody's thigh. Like, okay. But yeah, Virginia Tech fan, salty as fuck after that. Frankly, I don't blame him. I get it. Like, if you're a fan of a team, you'd be salty about it. I understand it. They're saying, ACC is all for Miami. I was like, have you watched college football with Miami ever? Like, the NCAA or any conference they've ever been in, they have never helped out the Miami Hurricanes. Ever. So to say some stupid nonsense like that, they helped. No, that's not what happened here. I understand that how could you overturn that, but again, how can you call that a touchdown in the first place? You'll have to, once you see the play, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
it was wild, man. People were heated about this.
Really?
Oh yeah, big time.
That's another one I'll check out.
Yeah, but I was shocked that they overturned it. But as a Miami fan, I'm glad they did. It keeps their undefeated record alive, which I'm excited about. And then they get to go play, and now they get to go play an ACC game in California on Saturday at 10:30. Yes, you gotta love playing ACC games in California, right?
Yeah.
Gotta love how Cal is a part of the ACC. It's a beautiful thing, folks.
Can you tell everybody what ACC stands for?
Atlantic Coast Conference. Just the absurdity.
I just wanted you to spell
Right.
that out. I just wanted you to spell that out for
Yes.
people that don't understand what the ACC stands for.
The absolute absurdity of it is it's just humorous to me. But
Yep.
Anyways, with that, let's get into the picks from last week.
Let's do
and
it.
this week.
This segment is brought to you by the Joe Wright Group.
It's time!
Okay, so our picks from last week, we did better. Not great.
Am I included in this?
Not great. Yes,
Yeah. All right.
we did better.
Yeah.
Not great, but we did better. Okay, so we're working our way up the chain. Here.
Baby
We're-
steps. Baby
Yeah.
steps.
Listen, we have to crawl before we can walk, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this week the college picks were won by Eric.
Okay.
He went 6-4 this week in college picks.
Nicely done.
Frank and I went 5-5, and you went 4-6.
Son of a bitch.
But when we go to the pro picks,
Yeah.
you and I led the way at 6-4-1. There was a tie,
Okay.
or a push, as they say.
Yes.
Frank was second with 5-5-1, and Eric was 4-6-1 in the NFL picks.
That's a shame.
So again, we're not great, but we're getting better. At least in week 5 of our picks this year, we're turning a corner. I
Like
think.
I said last week, there's only one way to go but up. Let's go.
We had nowhere to go but up.
Who are you talking to?
Well, listen, I'm trying not to just dog you here. We were
No,
all
you can dog me all you want.
we were
That's
all
terrible.
bad. We were all bad.
Terrible.
You were just slightly worse than the rest of us. You were significantly worse than the rest of us, but
Yes.
we were all bad.
All right.
So far now through the year, I do lead the way, and I'm not proud of this win-loss total, but I do lead the way at 37-41-2. Frank is second at 35-43-2.
God, we were really bad at this.
Eric is 34-44-2. And you are 28-50-2.
I'm really bad at this.
Not always, but this year, yes. This year you are.
I mean, I won this fucker last year.
You did. You did. And you got a long way to go if you're going to do that again
I
this year,
know.
brother.
I gotta get some hot weeks here, man.
So, yeah, that's where we're at.
All right.
And now we'll do this week's picks and see if we do any better.
We got to. All right. Starting off with Michigan State taking on Oregon. Oregon's laying 24. You guys all took Oregon. I took Michigan State.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I need points. I need all the points I can get. Next up, we got Miami laying 12.5, taking on Cal in an Atlantic Coast Conference game. You guys all took Miami. I took Cal.
I'm at my own ass.
Up next, SMU taking on Louisville. Louisville's laying 7. Joe, you and I took SMU. Eric and Frank took Louisville.
Hey, Old Man River, zip it or I'll break your hip.
After that, we got Missouri taking on Texas A&M. Texas A&M's laying 2. We all took the upset. We all took Missouri.
You gonna fuck on me?
I hope not. Let's go Mizzou, baby. Up next.
The odds are.
Oh, yeah. You're going to fuck on me. That's going to happen. Especially this year. Shit, man. Next up, we got Iowa taking on Ohio State. Ohio State's laying 20.5. You guys took Ohio State. I took Iowa.
Hey, bro, you mind putting on some pants? I find it a little weird I have to ask twice.
After that, we got Mississippi laying 9, taking on South Carolina. We all took Mississippi.
It's not his fault he can't read.
It really isn't my fault. Next up, we got USC laying 8.5, taking on Minnesota. You guys all took USC. I took Minnesota.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Except for herpes. That shit'll come back with you.
After that, we got Tennessee laying 14, taking on Arkansas. We all took Tennessee.
Fuck you, blow me.
Well, that's just uncalled for. And the final game of the college slate, Michigan taking on Washington. Washington's laying 2.5. Joe, you, Frank, and myself took Michigan. Eric took Washington.
I'm about to offend a lot of people.
Moving on to the NFL slate. First up, we got Tampa Bay taking on Atlanta. Atlanta's laying 2.5. We all took the Bucks.
It's not illegal. It's frowned upon, like masturbating on an airplane.
Taking the Bucks is frowned upon? Like masturbating on an airplane?
I guess.
Oh, fair enough. After
It's
that,
not illegal. It's just frowned upon.
fair enough. Next up, we got the Bills taking on the Texans. The game is basically a pick 'em with Houston laying 1.5. Joe, you took Buffalo. Eric took Houston. Frank took Buffalo, and I took Houston.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Next up, we got the Jets taking on the Vikings. Vikings laying 2.5. We all took Minnesota.
Like Kobayashi.
Wow, that's terrifying. Whatever that was. After that, we got Baltimore laying 2.5, taking on Cincinnati. You guys all took Baltimore. I took Cincinnati.
Why don't you go back to your home on Whore Island?
Yes. Up next, your Brownies taking on the Redskins. Redskins laying 3. We all took the Redskins.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
After that, we got Raiders taking on Broncos. Broncos laying 3. Joe, you took the Raiders. Eric took the Broncos. Frank took the Raiders. Shocking. And I took the Broncos.
It was in international waters, so they couldn't prosecute him, but I saw it.
He was such a dick in that movie.
Funny as hell, though.
Yes, funny as hell, but he was such a dick. Next up, we got the Cardinals taking on the Niners. Niners laying 7.5. We all took San Francisco.
If we take a fucking tight end, I quit!
Awesome. Still one of the best drops. Next up, we got Green Bay laying 3.5, taking on the Rams. We all took Green Bay.
Shut up. I hate you.
Next up, Dallas taking on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's laying 2.5. Joe, you took Dallas. The rest of us took Pittsburgh.
Motherfucker.
And the final game of the week, New Orleans taking on Kansas City. Kansas City laying 5. Joe, you took New Orleans. We all took Kansas City.
I'm ready to go.
And those are the picks for this week.
That are the picks.
That are the picks, yes. That be the picks.
And that be the picks.
That be the picks.
Oh, shit. You got anything else to get into? Or are we signing off for the day?
No, we can sign off for the day.
All right. Give us a like.
Next week we'll do a
we'll
NHL preview.
I'm down with that.
All right.
Yeah. Give us a like, a share, and a follow on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. As always, check out SOTDET.com. You can look at our fantasy rankings. You can look at our show picks. You can look at the blogs that Frank has written. And you can also click on shop and buy some stuff and support us. That would be great. We'd appreciate it. SOTDET.com. On behalf of Chris, Frank, Lady Friend, Eric, and myself, we are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No, 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 no!
Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye.
Hey,
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
And you were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.